So have you ever taken a walk in a graveyard? An old graveyard, like, from hundreds of years ago? Well, if you have, you're going to know what I'm talking about. But if you haven't, you should do it. Okay, so in old graveyards, you're going to see lots of gravestones of the people who lived before you. And some of those gravestones are going to be more recent. If you go back a little over 100 years, you're going to see gravestones where those people they lived very short lives, as opposed to the people who died recently, who lived very long lives, 70, 80, 90, even over 100 years sometimes. But back over 100 years ago, people didn't live very long. They might have lived, sometimes 50, maybe 55 if they were lucky, but more often or younger than that. They didn't live very long. And sometimes in those old graveyards, you also see a lot of graves of kids, young kids, little babies, and toddlers, and even up into their teens and 20s. And why did these people die so young? Why were there so many of them? Well, it's because science was not as good then as it is now. In other words, we didn't have antibiotics. We didn't have vaccines. We didn't have modern medicine. And when people would get sick, if their immune system could not fight it off, whatever it was, be it something like cholera, smallpox, the Black Plague, any of the nasty diseases that have plagued humanity throughout all of our existence, if their immune system could not withstand that, they died. Because in nature, you have only two options: adapt or die. Well, scientists got tired of all the dying, and they adapted. They came up with tools of science that allowed them to fight the death, to fight the germs, to fight the viruses and bacteria that were killing us. And they administered these amazing miracle cures to the population. And people took them because they were like, well, they didn't have a chance. They didn't have a choice, I'm sorry. They were like, they didn't have a choice. They were like, okay, everybody's dying, or take this pill or take this shot and it might help. And then guess what? They lived. Because the scientists who invented these amazing cures and treatments thoroughly tested them. They thoroughly tested them for years sometimes over a decade, until they were sure that they worked. Wow, it works. We have tested it thoroughly, and it works. And so here you go, population, take it and live. You know what? That's probably why most of us are here watching this video today, is because our parents and parents' parents were around when all that happened, and they took their medicine and they took their vaccines. Not all of them worked perfectly. Some of them had problems. Yeah, that's human nature. We're going to make a few mistakes, but we worked through those mistakes, and here we are. And I got all my vaccinations as a kid. I've never gotten smallpox. I've never gotten polio. I've never gotten rabies, because, I was exposed to that once, so I had to get vaccinated for rabies. I was bitten by a rattlesnake once, and you can't tell which finger unless I show you closely. It was that one. See how it's kind of bent? It's not perfectly straight, and it doesn't close all the way down. Well, I got bit by a rattlesnake. I put my hand too close to a wild rattlesnake, and you know what? He bit me. He was protecting himself. So you know what? I had to go to the hospital. I got anti-venom, and my finger is pretty much okay. Rambling here. I'm sorry, but you know what? I got a point. I've got a point. I'm getting to it. So all these amazing advancements have allowed our species to do incredibly remarkable things, and that's basically evolved to beat the things in nature that are trying to kill us. We have created sort of a protective superhero-like energy field around our bodies, if you will. Not really an energy field, but it's like a protective shield of science, if you will, that protects us from the nastiest things out there that want to use you and me as incubators for more of their kind, bacteria and viruses. They want to use us as an incubator just to create more of their kind. That's dirty, downright nasty. And heck yeah, I'm going to do anything I can to keep that from happening. So that's why right now, at this very moment, I am about to get my COVID vaccine. That's right. I'm going to turn in right now to the location where they are providing the COVID vaccine, and I'm going to go get my vaccine for SARS-CoV-2, better known as coronavirus or COVID-19. And I'm doing this because I want to protect everyone around me first, and myself and my family second. You know, that's why we do this. We have to do this. We all have to be in this together. We all have to work together. We have to take our vaccinations. They're not going to hurt you. They're not going to cause you to be programmed and tracked by the government or anything weird like that. It's just yet another tool. Sorry. It's just another tool that we have in the arsenal of science that allows us to fight nature, to fight the nastiest things in nature that are trying to get us all the time. So I'm going to go get my COVID shot now, and you can follow me inside, and hopefully we will be able to get some footage of that. And yeah, let's see what happens. Yeah.
All right. Okay, this is going to be cold and wet.
No worries.
Okay. Sharp stick, 1, 2, 3. All right. That is it. Good
That's
and
it.
done.
Excellent.
Yep, absolutely.
Short and sweet. Thank you very
All
much.
right. Absolutely. Have a great day.
Well, that was easy. So I'm sitting here in the health department where I received my vaccination about 15 minutes ago. I'm sitting here waiting on the, possible reactions and side effects and all of that to happen. And so far, nothing has happened other than my arm's a little sore simply because I got an injection in my muscle, right? Here is my vaccination card. I haven't had one of these since I was a little kid. I remember being a little kid going to the doctor. My mom would take me to the doctor to get a vaccination. And we had a vaccination card back then. That was, the early 70s, mid 70s. And I got another one. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So I got to get one more COVID shot in a month. One more, a booster, and then I'll be good to go. So now let's see what happens. Are there going to be any side effects tonight, tomorrow? I expect a few. I'm pretty sensitive to medications. And we'll see what happens. But it's any side effects are far better than actually getting the virus and then spreading it to other people. Yikes. I'd much rather deal with a few side effects than all of that nasty. So that's all there was to it. Very simple. Virtually painless. Well, it's done. Got my vaccination, and you were there, you saw. So far, no reaction, nothing. Just very happy to be part of this incredible, incredible thing that is going to save thousands, millions of lives once we get everyone vaccinated that we can possibly vaccinate. We being science. The medical profession. We need to get so many people vaccinated that this virus dies out and becomes much less of a problem. Most likely it will always be around, but just in much smaller amounts, like the flu, or even better, like something, if we could get enough people vaccinated, maybe we could squash it like polio, get rid of it totally. But sadly, I can take the mask off. I'm in my car. But sadly, I don't think that's going to happen simply because we have people today who refuse to get vaccinated. And, that's a whole other can of worms. But if you can get vaccinated, it's a way to protect everyone around you and you in the future, your kids and your kids' kids. And just like our parents and our grandparents did, our parents being my parents and my grandparents, people my age, they listened to the science. They trusted the science. They got their vaccinations. They took their antibiotics. And just like they did, if we can do that, we can work together to squash this thing as much as possible. But if we don't fight it with the only thing we have, science, engineering, and technology, if we don't fight it with these things, it's going to be around for a very long time, and it's going to get so bad, it's going to get so much worse than it is now, that we might not win. And when I say that, I don't mean everybody dies. I mean it, if it gets any worse, we're going to have a lot of problems keeping our economies running all over the planet. And that could really mess things up. I don't want to be a part of that. I want to go back to living. And that's why I got my vaccine today. I want to go back to living. Not just existing, not just, being at home. But I want to go back to living. I want to go back to concerts. I want to go back to restaurants. I want to do all those things, those fun things, those family and friends things. And to do that, we got to listen to the science. Just like we listen to the science on brushing our teeth. We've got to listen to the science. So listen and do good things. All right. So now, next step is see what happens over the next 24 to 36 hours. See if my immune system responds negatively, positively, or just right in the middle. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. But hopefully it's going to be something like when I get my flu vaccination every year. Basically what happens then is I get a little sore arm, which I have right now, and I feel a little under the weather for 24 hours, if even that. And if that's all that happens, fine. I'll be glad to accept that. And because the payoff here is my immune system will remember this invader, this nasty COVID invader, well, SARS-CoV-2 invader, and if it gets into me, my immune system will squash it. That's awesome. That's a small price to pay. That little bit of discomfort is a small price to pay for a year, 2 years, 5 years of immunity, immune boosting power provided by science. That's what I'm going for here. That's what I want. That's what we all want, right? So get your vaccination. All right, now, let's see what happens. What's the next 24 to 36 hours hold for me? I don't know. It's part of the experiment, right? So here we go. So it's been 2 hours since I received my vaccination, and I feel absolutely the same as I did before I received my vaccination. There's no difference in the way I feel, only a tiny bit of soreness at the injection site. So, yeah, nothing yet. I guess that's a good sign. I would assume we will see what happens. Well, it's been a little bit more than 24 hours since I received my first COVID vaccine. And really, not much has changed. The arm is sore. It got a lot more sore last night when I got home. And I had to put ice on it. Made it feel a little better. And then I got really tired by about 8:30. I don't usually go to bed that early, but I went to bed at 8:30. I think my immune system was just working to process this new thing that it needed to learn. And so, yeah, I went to bed at 8:30, woke up at about 5, and throughout the day to day, I've been practically normal. Yeah, that's it. So far, so good. Now, I need to go back, of course, in a little less than a month and get my second vaccine, the booster. And at that point, we'll do a follow-up if need be. If you don't hear from me again, then you know that it was perfectly fine. Yeah, wow. It was like getting my flu vaccination. Nothing really much happened, uneventful. So, go get your shot. Be part of the solution. Okay, so the day is finally here. I'm on my way to get my second COVID vaccination. That's right, today, the 19th of February 2021. So it's been a little over a month since my first vaccination, and well, I didn't really have any major reaction to the first vaccination until about 2 weeks and 2 days. And then I had pretty much the same symptoms that a lot of people have reported, sort of flu-like symptoms, pain in my joints, things like that. It was a bit of a delayed reaction, and I've talked to several medical professionals since then about it, and they agreed that yes, that can happen. Everybody's immune system is different. And yeah, it was no fun, but according to those same medical professionals, that's exactly what you want to experience. You want your immune system to recognize that something is not supposed to be there in your body, and then mount a response and basically attack that thing, and then remember it, so that if it sees it again, it can, if it sees the real thing again, it can take care of it. So I'm on the way to get my second vaccination, and as I understand, it's probably going to be the worst one as far as reactions go. So I'm not really looking forward to that, but I would rather go through a few days of reactions than actually getting COVID. So like before, after I get this injection, I will record my progress symptoms, whatever you want to call it, over the next 24 hours, and then report on it a couple of weeks out, see what happens. But everybody's different. Everybody's immune systems are different, so I don't know what to expect, really. I have allergies to lots of things, and I've known people who have allergies and it's affected them a little differently, so we will see what happens. There's no signs. Oh, there we go, vaccine clinic. Okay, that is what I'm looking for. By appointment only. Keep going this way, maybe? Yeah, I believe so. Their signs have been blown down by the wind, so it's a little hard to figure out which way to go. Vaccine Gym. Written in crayon, it looks like. Interesting. Okay, I'm here. Well, time to put the mask on. Since I'm going into a public place where a lot of people have been lately. Wonder if I should wear the hat. Think I should wear the hat? I think I'll wear the hat. This hat. Yeah, I think I'll wear this hat. Pretty cool, right? So yeah, my wife made it for me as a way to poke fun at this situation. And it comes complete with spike proteins. Check them out. So I'm going to go get myself a dose of mRNA right now with some spike protein coating that will help me protect myself from this nasty virus. So anyway, let's do this thing. I think I'll take you with me. Oh, that's rude. The line's a lot shorter than I thought it would be. All right, where do I go?
Second shot, right?
One.
Yep, deeper. That is the best thing I have ever seen in my life.
My wife makes them, or made one. I don't know if she'd make you one.
Oh my goodness.
People keep saying that, and I'm like, I keep telling her, you gotta make some. And she's just like, that just took so much time.
Oh my goodness. When he came in the door, I was like, oh my god. He just went out this way and I took him down. Did you see that?
I figured it's a good way to make fun of it. Because I'm a science teacher, so I had to have a way to make fun of it.
That works. That works. Well, you can step right over and fight it away.
Thank you.
Right or left? You just want to relax that arm for me because
Oh, yeah,
I got to
that's
get in that muscle.
Okay.
Little stick.
Yeah, there we go. I didn't even barely felt that.
I have special mystical powers.
Thank you for your mystical powers.
You're welcome. You can't leave until 2:02.
Okay, so I got my shot, as you saw, and I'm sitting here in the waiting area, and we're just sort of sitting here waiting. You have to wait about 15 minutes to see if you're going to have a reaction. And so far, nothing. Yeah, that's what it looks like in here. Everybody waiting or getting their shots. There's my card. Complete.
I want you to make us some of those hats so that we can wear it on the parade and market your great idea and your hard work because it's so awesome. We love it.
See, I told you, everybody loves this hat, and everybody's been asking me for one. So, you know, there might be something in it for you, you know, in the future. I don't know. All right, well, I've been sitting here about 30 minutes. Gave myself a little more time just to make sure I didn't have a reaction because I've got allergies, you know, so I gotta be careful about these things. So I guess that's it, no reaction. I'm going home. Get it?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Take care. All right, well, it's done. My second shot. The whole series is complete. Hopefully I won't have any interesting reactions, but if I do, I'll let you know. All right. It's done. Okay, so it was rather uneventful. Got my vaccination, waited. No response from my immune system as far as I can tell. Arm does not even feel sore. Although, when I got the first shot, it took a couple of hours for that to happen. So we'll just wait and see what happens. And that's that. Okay, so it's been about an hour since I received my vaccination, and so far there's traffic. The only side effect I have experienced was it was interesting. My nose and my sinuses just totally opened up, cleared up. I can breathe so clearly. It's unusual. So yeah, I don't know if that's somehow connected, but it seems like it might be. I don't know. Very odd. Yeah, Oh, there was one other thing. There was also an odd tingling sensation on the left side of my face, just for a few moments. Maybe related, maybe not. Maybe I'm reading too much into this, but yeah, so far that's it. Yeah, so I'll report back later. Well, hey, it's been about 3 weeks since I received my second COVID vaccination, and I just thought I would give you the report on how everything went. So, as you saw, I got my vaccination. Everything went very well. It was pretty amazing how many people went crazy over my COVID hat that my wonderful wife made for me. And, you know, actually people taking pictures with me and my hat. It was nuts. But yeah, it was really fun. And it was great to see so many people going to get their vaccination. Well, after I left, I went home and my arm was sore, just like the first time. It wasn't really bad, really. It wasn't as bad as the first vaccination. It got really hot. That was kind of unique, different than the first vaccination. You know, feverish, I guess. And but it was nowhere near as sore. And then the next day, I felt flu-like symptoms. Just kind of what a lot of people have been reporting. You know, achy joints, achy muscles, mild, kind of mild stuffiness in my sinuses and nose. And that lasted for that second day, or actually really the first full day after the vaccination. And then after that, I went back to normal. And since then, I've had no other symptoms. Felt perfectly fine. So yeah. And now I tell you what, I have a wonderful feeling of peace of mind. Yeah. After I got the second vaccination, it took a couple of days, but then it started to dawn on me that, you know, I have more protection now. I have an antibody army forming in my body, getting me ready for when I encounter the SARS-CoV-2 virus again. I hope I've never encountered it up to now. Anyway, when I inevitably encounter the virus, and hopefully if I do encounter it, my immunity will take care of it. So that's a wonderful thing to have. That peace of mind is better than anything I could have imagined would have come out of this, for me personally. And then of course for the rest of us, the more of us that get vaccinated, the better off we're going to be, because it's going to drive the virus away into the hidden recesses of society where no one's getting vaccinated. That is the only place it will be able to survive, especially with these new variants coming out. If you know, if people get vaccinated, we'll be able to hopefully get this thing beat back to where we can go back to some kind of normal pretty quickly, maybe by midsummer. But in some areas, you know, I know that there are people who are reluctant or refusing to get this vaccination series for whatever the reason. And in those areas, the sickness will continue. And that's what we have proven time and again scientifically with vaccinations, such as, for instance, the smallpox vaccination. As soon as that was discovered, was it Edward Jenner, I think? Anyway, he started giving people that early vaccination series, and it started reducing sickness and death. Then, as technology and science caught up and they came up with better vaccinations for smallpox, they distributed it among the world's citizens, and in areas where people received the vaccination, they basically wiped out smallpox, destroyed it. But in areas where it was hard to get to the population for whatever reason, hard to get the vaccination out to the population, the sickness continued. And it continued until, I want to say it was 1980, I believe, when they had finally eradicated smallpox all over the planet, and they declared it basically extinct. The battle had been won. Amazing. You know, but back in those days, people listened more. People listened to science. They trusted science. I really don't know what has happened with some people in today's world where they aren't trusting science, but instead they're trusting myth and legend. And they're believing bizarre, erroneous, ridiculous claims that these vaccinations are somehow controlling people or tracking people or whatever. It just goes on. The list is crazy. Or 5G is controlling you by your vaccinations. Whatever. None of that's real. It's made up by fearful people. You know, and then these fearful people say that those of us who are wearing masks and following the CDC's guidelines, they say we're living in fear. I'm like, really? I'm not afraid. I would be far more afraid if I was not wearing my mask and if I had not gotten my vaccination. Yeah, it's bizarre. I don't know. It's hard to understand human nature. It really is. So, you know, do what's right for yourself. First, do your homework. If you have any questions, ask your doctor. If you have a compromised immune system, definitely speak to your doctor about your options, because when you have a compromised immune system, you know, everything's different. And I encourage you, you know, do your own research, but do your research using sources that are real, not, you know, I mean, YouTube's great, but it should not be your only source of information. And, you know, if you come to a source, no matter where it is, YouTube, whatever, social media, Wikipedia, wherever you go, if you come to a source and it says, this is the truth, you know, truth revealed, things like that, you know, attention-getting, dramatic headlines, you know, that should be a red flag. And then, you know, check it out, whatever it is, but then go on and get several more sources. And if they all say the same thing, and if some of them are sources such as the CDC and World Health Organization, places like that, you know, then it's whatever it is you're researching is probably true. But if it's some person in their basement recording studio purporting that, you know, vaccines are causing whatever to happen, or you're being tracked, or, you know, 5G, blah, 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 all of this hogwash, then you're not really doing research. Yeah, that's not research. Anyway, I could ramble on about this, but the point here is, you know, talk to your doctor, find out if it's right for you, and go get your vaccination, if it is, if it'll work for you, if it's safe for your specific condition. And be part of the solution, you know, be part of the solution. And we can get through this thing. Yeah, we can. We will get through the end of it. The light is at the end of the tunnel. We can already see it. We just have to stay the course. Just the one thing, please don't stop. Please don't stop wearing your masks even after you get vaccinated. Please don't stop washing your hands. I mean, to do that would be gross anyway. And, you know, follow the guidelines of the people that know, the experts. Follow the experts' recommendations, and we will get through this thing. So that's how my vaccination adventure went at this pivotal moment in human history. And gosh, I hope we never have to live through something like this again. But I have a feeling that we may encounter more infectious diseases like this popping up because there's more of us on the planet. We're interacting with wildlife more. And in some parts of the world, people don't take smart precautions when they interact with wildlife, such as what is thought to have caused all this. People, you know, mixing different kinds of animals from all over the world in markets, wet markets, maybe in China. Not just China's fault. It's not China's fault at all. It's people. It's not the entire country. It's people making bad decisions. So get yourself educated. Become scientifically literate. That's right. You don't have to become a scientist. just become scientifically literate enough to understand that the scientific method is the best thing we've ever come up with for helping us understand how nature works, how we fit into this piece of nature, as a piece of nature, this puzzle of nature. And yeah, I'm gonna have to stop now because, boy, you know, I'll just go on and on. That's me. I'm a teacher, right? And I will teach, or I will ramble and ramble and ramble until you turn me off. But anyway, I suppose that's where I'm going to end this. And yeah, I'd like to hear your stories. If you, you know, what was it like for you when you got your vaccination? How did it affect you? How did it impact you? Did you have side effects or not? Some people don't have any. So leave your answers and questions and comments down below in the comment section, and have a great day.